Hey y'all, it's Alicia and welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop. If you're new here, well, you're going to learn a lot about how we operate here in our crafty community by today's video. And to my returning folks, first of all, thank you so much for listening to my story yesterday and not laughing at me. I so appreciate it. I answered all the comments today and there were tons of them. Now, I really appreciate it. I have to tell you, I was compelled to share that story. I don't know why. Especially since I had kept it all to myself, and my poor mom learned about the fever because she watched the video, and so did the bestie. But I was compelled. There was something about that experience, and I'm a super logical person, super rational. I am blessed with that kind of mind, and so every part of my brain wanted to make this a coincidence. Every part of my brain. But I also have really decent gut instincts, although they have failed me in the past year, but I usually have really good gut instincts. It's one of the things that makes me street smart here in New York. And that hair just stood up on the back of my neck. And that doesn't happen to me too often. And when it does, it's usually a sign I have to pay attention. So, the rational Alicia kept trying to rationalize that one away, and there just wasn't any reasoning. Some things define, they go beyond reason into a realm that you can't explain away with logic. And I think I was fighting that. Even though there were all those other people in the store she could have talked to, and I knew that, I'm logical enough to say, well, then why did she pick me? I didn't have a sign on my forehead that said, tell me this story. No. And to be honest, you see me one way because I'm here, but when I'm out in the street of New York, I have a very different front. And that's just we call it the Brooklyn face. It's very much a stay away from me look. And so I don't look so approachable. So I was realizing no. She could have told anybody this story. This was not a coincidence. Whether you believe in God or a higher power or a universe or that there are things beyond us in this world or you don't, you can't ignore when all those factors come together. Even then, you have to pause and think, that's got to happen for a reason. That's just too many things converging for it not to. And then the whole flood thing, you have to understand how out of character that is. That's why Hiram came upstairs, because he really thought my pipes had burst. I needed a little bit of a wake-up call. And that did it. Standing there naked, trying to get all the flooding to stop. I think after that, I just felt much better. And I realized whether you believe or you don't believe, I needed that message. Because I was tormenting myself about whether or not we had made the right decision. So all I got to say is thank you for not laughing at me. Thank you. And even if you did laugh at me, thank you for not doing it in public and putting the comment down below. I really appreciate it. It was generous of you. I can't even explain the compulsion to share with you. That's in itself its own act that I can't even explain away with logic. But that is not why I'm on here today. I did want to thank you first because it mattered a lot to me that you all listened, and it mattered that you shared that some of you have had this happen, which was very reassuring. And I really I so appreciated your comments. Some of you also had to make some tough decisions in the last couple of weeks, and you also went through this, and that was really nice. And Alice reached out to me right away and was like, oh, girly. And we just had a good old chat that helped so much, Alice. I cannot even tell you. It just helped. And I really appreciate it. So thank you. I had to start today off by saying thank you, and thank you for listening, not laughing, sharing your stories, understanding that I needed time to make sense out of it all. And I do think I needed that message. So I'm going to choose, Rational Alicia's choosing to believe it was sent. Because I did need it, and I have felt better ever since. So thank you all for allowing me to work that out and to share it with you. And again, for not laughing. But I'm on here because we have a bit of a crisis, folks. And I think I'm going to need your help to solve it, because this isn't something money can solve. You know, we always think like, oh, if I had $1 million and I could throw it at it, the problem would go away. But we've got a problem that money can't solve. But I'm thinking together we might be able to. Here's the situation. This morning, you know how I was going to take the 4 hours just for myself, self-care, right? Okay. So this morning, my brother-in-law, who is my husband's brother, and he's my husband's younger brother, and we're very close with him, has decided he's going to help me get my mom's supplies. My mom's building is on special kind of lockdown, and they've sort of abandoned it. And without raising too many alarm bells for you, she lives in a seniors building and the management stopped working, which puts my mom in dire risk. And that means no one's going to be cleaning the elevators or the buttons. There's all sorts of ramifications for this very poor decision. I know it's because the workers probably don't want to be in there. It's too many people. But what are you going to do with all the people that live there? And so I, as you know, have someone who goes in to help with my mom. But now it's not safe for her to go in, and it's not safe for my mom to have her go in. Because now it could potentially expose my mom to the virus. But then how do I look after my mom? Y'all know she uses a walker. She lost 80% of her vision this year. She can't carry anything. She has degenerated discs in her back. I can keep going. She just can't. And I don't have siblings that are going to come to the rescue. They could. They're not going to. They don't live in the same city, so it's not like it would be super simple, but it would be way easier than it would be for me, and it's just not going to happen. So my brother-in-law, who is amazing, is like, I'm going to help you out. So I'm going to go and take care of this. And he's doing it for other members of our family. My other brother-in-law is in quarantine currently because he traveled and they don't know if he's exposed to the virus or not. So he and his children are quarantined. So my brother-in-law, Joel, God bless him, went out today, and I'll tell you, this started at 11 o'clock this morning. It's now 3:20. He's not yet finished. It started off like 12 stores because I'm going to show you. It's now become like it is in the States, in Canada. At first, it wasn't like this, y'all. You just have to know this. They were much more respectful and people weren't doing this. It wasn't like New York, survival of the fittest. It wasn't like that at first in Canada. And in fact, he's kind of annoyed with himself because yesterday he was somewhere that had more supplies. Okay, so he sent me this from the first store. Do you see that? There's not one item on the shelf. Not one item. That's really frightening. Like, not one item. And then, it's an insane... He went to another store called Canadian Tire, which is kind of like Walmart meets automotive, but it's much smaller. And it doesn't have food, but it has like limited household stuff. So he thought, well, that will be a good place because people won't think about that place, first of all. And it was a little bit better. It had toilet cleaner, and he was able to get dish soap there, but that was pretty much it. I mean, you see, it's not much better. It's just a little better. So I sent these pictures to my crafty friends, and I was explaining to them that my day today, which was supposed to be dedicated to self-care, is being instead, it's a strategy session with my brother-in-law as he's driving all over the city, trying to figure out how he's going to get these items that my mother and my brother need. And he's worried. And he's also trying to be like careful. You know, every time my brother-in-law goes into a store, he's at risk, right? So now we've got him going to 10, 12 stores. So I'm also being like, okay, is your mask on? Do you have hand sanitizer? Like, you know, all the regular questions. Are you being careful? Don't touch anything unless you're taking it off the shelf. Okay, so I'm sending this out to the group because they're basically saying, look, I'm not online. I'm not crafting. I'm not taking my self-care time because I got this problem and we're trying to solve it. And now we've been at it now 5 hours, 4 hours. It's almost done now, but we're not yet done. And Kayla, Pen Pal Mama in our group, we all know as Crafty Pen Pal Mama, who's a big part of our crafty community, has been going through a very hard time since this started. And she had mentioned that the conditions in her area were very much like they were here. But she didn't say much beyond that. And this weekend, thankfully, a lot of our friends let us know that their Walmarts restocked and rationed, and that suddenly they could get bread and water and milk and, you know, all the basic necessities, and that they had rationed it all so that each family could go and get. And everyone sent some pictures or explanations so that we would all see that, which I thought was great because I think it was reassuring for us to know that people were getting access to food. Well, Kayla's didn't restock. Not her Walmart, not her grocery store. Let me show you. She just sent this to us today. That's the pantry aisle, folks. Yeah. You know, the ones where there's soup and normally pasta and rice and all those other good things. So what's on that shelf? Well, I enlarged it. There's 4 cans of crushed tomatoes. There's about 1, 2, 3. There's about 5 jars of some Indian sauce, which looks to me like Madras curry. There's 3 jars of pasta sauce, 1 brick of Velveeta. And over here, it looks like there might be Swanson's bone broth. 2 containers. And that's pretty much it. That's what she's got. So I was like, okay, Kayla, it's not getting any better. And she was like, no, let me send you some more pictures. So she sent a bunch more. And I was like, well, what have you managed to get? And it turns out that all they managed to get was like a package of rolls and a package of cheese. And she was relieved because she was like, well, you know, the good thing is at least we got that. And I was like, okay, so you have, I mean, because she's been in the same situation as New York, I get it. So I was like, wait, what are you eating? Now, they've been on the same thing that we did initially here in New York, which is we did 1 meal a day so that the supplies would last longer until we were able to get in supplies from the hood, and then my husband sent in meat. And for the kids, we made sure, like I always had snacks here because I did Cupcake Monday, and if they do homework here, I give them a snack. So I just forfeited those for one of the families upstairs so that they had things for the kids for snacks. So I'm like, wait, Kayla, you've got kids there. What are you guys eating? And she's like, we're down to the 1 meal a day, and we're trying to give them snacks, but there's like not food. And that's when I said, okay, that's enough. Kayla's a proud person, y'all. She wasn't going to come on here. She's like, I can't ask people to help. And I said, I can. We're not asking for money. You can't fix this with money. I wish we could fix this with money. We have the emergency fund. We can't fix this because there isn't anywhere we can order from that will deliver there. So how can we help? And I know many of you have said, if there's any way we can help or anything you know that people can't get, please let us know. Well, I'm letting you know today. We really need to help. I pulled some things out from my pantry. And I'm going to show you what I'm thinking. Those of you going to the post office who are still mailing, or those of you who are comfortable like me having the post office pick up parcels at home, if you have anything like this, like these instant soup, this is the roast chicken flavor. If you have cup of soup or soup packages, if you could part with 1 or 2 of these from your pantry, that would help the family. I know this isn't healthy. I'm well aware this is not super healthy, but guys, we're talking about people that are not eating, and 9 people that aren't eating, including children. So if you have a box or 2 of KD, I know they may not have milk always, sometimes not at all, but you can make this with water. I know that. I know you can, and butter, but if you don't have butter, then you do the best you can. If you've got a box of this is great. It's non-perishable. I still have some cookies from the kids, so I can put in some snacks for the kids. They're not healthy because I sent the healthy ones upstairs already. But I do have some unhealthy ones, and if you do too, toss them in a box. If you have tuna, now I'm not a tuna eater because I don't care for it, but tuna is a great item to send because it's protein, and they don't have they don't have access to any meat at all. So anything protein-based would be wonderful. So tuna or canned salmon, but canned tuna is easier for kids to eat. Kids will usually eat a tuna sandwich if they have to eat. So if you have any canned tuna, that's super helpful. Any non-perishable item that they can create into some kind of meal without needing extra ingredients. Because folks, right now, they can't get access to things like eggs or often milk. Right now they have a little bit of cheese and bread and they're stretching out everything, but they don't have the ingredients to mix things. So for instance, if you send a bag of pasta or a box of pasta, that's great. But I hope you have a can of something to send with it that they can put on top because they don't have anything. So think about it like that. That's why I'm saying any instant soup you have or cans of soup, that's amazing. I don't have that much, but I do have some. So I'm going to put some into a box. But soup of any kind would be super useful right now, because that's something that everyone can eat, and all you need is water. These are wonderful. Even if you could just look, we are all in a food shortage, and some of us more than others. So even if you can only part with one item, believe it or not, if 20 of us do this, that's going to help this family a lot. It's not going to solve their problem. I don't want to pretend that this is a miracle solution. It is not. It is not. It is just going to get them through. It's not going to solve it. It's not going to be healthy, and it's not super practical. But it's the only solution I can think of to help Kayla and her family not starve during this. And I can't believe that can happen, but it can happen if we don't act. So Kayla's never going to come on and do this. So she's a very proud person, and I'll be very frank. The thing with Sabrina devastated her. And after the thing with Sabrina, there is no way she's going to come on here and say, I need your help, y'all. We're not eating. But I can. I can. Sorry. I can. The idea of someone starving is, to me, unacceptable. And I can't fix it with money. I can't. I can't throw money at this and make this go away. But I can ask each of you to help me out. That if you're mailing out, just pull a couple of items from your pantry. I'm gonna put Kayla's P.O. box down below. Okay, I'm gonna put her P.O. box down below, and because as long as it's not perishable, she can receive it there. And just put, if you can afford to, put 6 items in a box, whatever you can afford. And don't think one item is nothing. Because think about it, if 10 people send in one item, that's 10 food items they don't have. So even if you can only part with one thing, that one thing is going to help feed that family, I promise you. And it's one more thing than they have right now. Where was the other thing? Peanut butter. So I do keep because of my autoimmune in the house. And I know about allergies and things like that, but I don't think Kayla's family has an allergy to this. I hope not. I don't think so. She's never mentioned it. So, and usually when we talk about kids, things like that come up. So this is healthier too. Not the super healthy. It's not like getting a proper chicken dinner, but it does have protein. So things like this, helpful. But if you're going to send this, remember they don't have a lot of access to bread. So if you have crackers to send with it, it would be ideal. So I'm just going to remind you again, peanut butter, Insta soup, snacks of any kind for the munchkins, KD, cans of tuna, anything like that that you can throw into a box, we'd really appreciate it. And I'll put her P.O. box down below. And I know not everyone's mailing, and I don't want anyone to jeopardize their health, but those of us that can still get a package out, this takes priority for me over everything else. Food is an essential thing in life. And in my opinion, we're all entitled to eat. That's not a privilege. And it hurts me very badly that anyone in our craft community is in this position. I also want to ask if there is any crafter in the St. Cloud area. And the reason I'm asking is I can get Pat food. I just can't get it to her. None of the national delivery places in her area, they have food there. They just don't have delivery. And the people are so nice, but they're very short-staffed. They don't have any, they want to help me. They really do. They just can't find anyone who could just drive it over to Pat. And then I thought, well, what about Uber or a taxi? But okay, so in New York, there's a way to do this where you can order groceries and have it sent in an Uber. It's not set up in St. Cloud. And so they're trying to help me figure out if they can do it in some weird way, but they haven't solved it yet. So again, it wouldn't hurt for Pat to get some packages in the meantime, because I am very concerned that she is going to run out of food. Now, Pat, like me, can't eat a ton of pasta. Just because of our illness, it could make Pat very sick. So unfortunately, I can't send her craft dinner or like noodles. You can send her soup though. Soup is Insta soup would be perfect. Tuna would also be perfect, and things like that. So I'm going to put Pat's channel down below so that you can contact her. But Kayla, right now, we have 9 people. Right now, Pat has enough to get through the next few days. Kayla's this is a dire situation, and it's for 9 people, out of which whom are children. There's some that are children. We need to move quickly. The post office is open tomorrow. I know that for a fact. They have not closed it down yet. If we could just get some parcels out tomorrow, there's a chance that by like Wednesday, she'll have food, or at least some food. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm asking for this help because it's important. I'm putting Kayla's mailing address for her P.O. Box down below. Again, whatever you can afford, and never think that one item isn't going to make a difference. One soup container can make a difference. It really can. Thank you so much. I'm hoping to be on later because I got ATCs to share with you. I need to check on my mama, and I have not had a minute to myself. I literally have been at this for 5-6 hours. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to make myself a nice cup of coffee, and I'm just going to ponder a bit because it really does break my heart. It does. I do think food is a right, not a privilege. And so this situation really upsets me. And it upsets me that greediness can cause this. But we can fix it. That's the one relief I have. I have seen us fix such big problems. Much bigger problems, you would imagine, like meaning much more complicated to solve. This is just a matter of putting some non-perishables in a box and getting them mailed. Surely we can do that. All right, y'all. I hope whatever you're doing, that it is a less stressful afternoon. I hope you've been crafting. I think I need to do some of that even just for an hour at this point, just to clear my brain. And I want to thank you again for listening to my story without laughing yesterday. All right, y'all. I'm putting Kayla's mailing address and Pat's channel down below so you can contact Pat directly. And if there's anyone in the St. Cloud area, please reach out to me because maybe we can work something out. All right. Take real good care, y'all. I'll see you later on today. Bye for now.